And hello everybody, how's it going out there in chronic pain and medical marijuana land? Hi, I'm in the middle of a flare. Started Thursday night when I went driving into town and slipped some neck discs out as usual. And sitting up and shooting my video yesterday, and I was sitting up and grinding some weed. And when I sit up straight too long, it just hurts. And I'm bent over all the time. And that's because my neck does not like to support itself. My head wants to fall off, literally. Well, I got an hour or so here to shoot this video because Debbie just took off. She got an eye appointment at Wally World. Check up on her prescription. She needs new scripts. She's been having problems driving. I said, you gotta... So anyway, though, we are going to talk about THC alone. The first and most important of all the cannabinoids. We're going to talk about THC, tetrahydrocannabinol. And I'll even give you when it was first found, how it was found, and I'll go over the reasons why dronabinol, marinol, the big pharma answer for single molecule pharmaceutical that just doesn't work because it's so dose dependent. Marinol's worthless. You need raw cannabis. That's how you get your THC. Okay? So, go inside here. I'm plastering on my salve. There's my pain level coming in right there. And let me just pause this while I go inside. I will talk to you in a second. We'll go in depth into THC. Just a sec. And we're back. Hi, everybody. Billy Bluebird says hi. Enough humor. Let's get serious. THC, everything you need to know about Delta-9 tetrahydrocannabinol. This is from herb.co, herb.co, if you want to follow along. What is it anyway? You may have heard THC is the primary psychoactive found in cannabis, but what does it do? How does it work? Does it really have medical benefits, or is it all just hype? Whether you're a long-time consumer or just interested, we'll tell you everything you need to know about this fascinating plant product. Tetrahydrocannabinol. Take a screenshot of that. Hydrocarbons. Hydrogen, carbon, oxygen. That's all that's in this plant. THC is one of the many chemical compounds known as cannabinoids found inside the dried resin glands of the female cannabis flower. In the plant's raw form, THC is found as an acid. I went over this yesterday. THCA. All phytocannabinoids start off as acids. THCA, THCVA, CBDA, etc., etc. And they all change to THC, CBD in your body. So, it's an acid rather than the psychoactive we may have come to know and love. Male plants also produce mild amounts of THC, but typically not enough to interest most people. Now, in organic chemistry, these cannabinoids act as secondary metabolites. They are supplementary chemicals produced by the plant that don't have a direct impact on plant development or reproduction. Plants like marijuana produce these secondary metabolites in place of an internal immune system. Basically, it's saying they take care of themselves. And I've said it before. Weed, pest, rot, mold, mildew resistant. You don't need herbicides. You don't need dangerous pesticides. In fact, you want to use hemp-made fertilizer to spray on hemp and cannabis crops, because that's the best way to fertilize cannabis and hemp is with itself. Hold on. So I jumped ahead of myself there anyway. The potent chemicals help the plant fend off parasites, viruses, bacteria, and other natural predators. THC even seems to have antibacterial properties in humans. Other cannabinoids like CBG do as well. A handful of the unique compounds are found to kill or slow the growth of bacteria in people and plants alike. Hemp and cannabis can be made into fertilizer for hemp and cannabis and any other crop out there. I'll bet if they sprayed our cotton crops with cannabis or hemp-based crop dusting, it would be safer for the people around the fields to breathe. Because I've lived near cotton fields less than a half mile away. And the crop dusters spin around right over where I lived. You could hear them at night doing all the fields. And they, right over our house is where they came and did their big turn and came back around. And it stank. It's this nasty, peppery type smell that was poison. And we were breathing that. I had so many breathing problems when I was living in Arizona City. When I moved back down to Tucson and got away from the cotton fields, I think I had a mold allergy and some problems with the chemicals and the fertilizers and the defoliants. But anyway, a chemist, Raphael McCullum, first began his research on cannabis in the 60s. He found himself facing one major problem: where you legally obtain cannabis for scientific study. The answer was the police. Now this was in Israel. Now, hardly an appropriate supplier in today's legal and political climate, the 5 kilos of hash given to McCullum by Israeli police helped pave the way for some of the most groundbreaking findings in marijuana and biochemical research to date. McCullum was the first man to isolate Delta-9, the primary psychoactive compound in cannabis. Now, out of the 85 plus individual cannabinoids found in marijuana, only one of them produces the powerful, intoxicating psychoactive effects, our good pal THC. Why? It's simple. Shape. THC just happens to have the right molecular structure to fit into special binding sites on cells throughout the body, and these specific sections are now known to be parts of a larger endocannabinoid system. Like I said, millions of receptors all over our bodies. Anywhere you need cannabinoids, your body will take them there. And it will try to produce them in lieu of you not ingesting cannabis. Your body attempts to heal itself with cannabinoids. Period. You cannot get over it. Anti-weed Nazis, guess what? You produce cannabinoids. Upon embryonic implantation, mom produces cannabinoids, telling the baby to produce its own ECS. It's in our DNA. Okay? Now, though THC was first isolated in 1964, it wasn't until 1988 Dr. Alan Howlett of Wake Forest University uncovered the binding sites for THC in the human brain. Now, she discovered it was nothing short of revolutionary. THC was attaching itself to special cell sites in the hippocampus responsible for memory, the frontal cortex where we think, and the cerebellum responsible for movement. These sites are called cannabinoid receptors, and each acts as a part of the endocannabinoid system. ECS is a cell receptor network that regulates a variety of bodily functions, helps maintain homeostasis, which is a long word for optimal balance or harmony. This receptor network sends and receives signals that facilitate larger, more complicated chemical reactions. Certain cannabinoid receptors are most highly concentrated in the central nervous system. However, these cell sites can actually be found all through the body. There are plenty of them in our digestive tract, our skin, and even in our reproductive organs. As smoothly as keys fit a lock, THC binds to cannabinoid receptors and ignites a series of chemical reactions. This causes the changes in your brain and body. When THC engages the brain, you'll experience altered behavioral and cognitive ability. Now, these changes aren't necessarily negative unless you find them uncomfortable. Mostly THC will just make you feel different than you normally do. Once you get used to how it feels to consume THC, you'll find that you can perform all of your normal daily activities just fine. You know, there's that one thing out there, and shout out to all the stoners who can get high as fuck and still get their jobs done. I did in the military. We smoked up all the time in the 82nd. Back in the 70s, weed was very prevalent in the Army back then. So, in a way, THC is similar to trying on a new pair of glasses. It causes you to see and experience things in a different way. Cognitive and behavioral changes are not the only effects of THC, however. The cannabinoid engages the immune system, quelling inflammation. It spurs appetite, triggering the release of hunger hormones, and it jumpstarts your metabolism. Also has a sedative effect, making you feel blissful and sleepy. Now, how does it actually work? It essentially takes the place of chemicals our body makes themselves. Like I said, the endocannabinoid system attempts to create cannabinoids to heal the body. Cannabis fits our bodies like a lock and key, promoting homeostasis at every level of biologic life, at the subcellular level to the human body as a whole. Now, there are a few chemicals it replaces, but the most well known is a little molecule called anandamide, A-N-A-N-D-A-M-I-D-E. This is called a natural THC. Some may ask, if THC fits so well into the receptors, then humans must be made to consume cannabis, right? No. The short answer is no. THC just happens to tap into a system already present in the body. Once scientists managed to figure out how THC is used by the body via the ECS, it took them another 5 years to isolate the THC-like substance that our body creates naturally. That compound, what can loosely be described of as a human version of THC, is anandamide. Anandamide is one of the addicting properties in chocolate. It is what makes you feel pleasure when you eat chocolate. So, of course, it would be present in cannabis to help you feel well, a feeling of wellness and uplifting. Okay, modern scientists are still struggling to find out exactly what complicated role anandamide plays in the human body, but one critical function sets this compound apart from all others. Like nature's own whiteout, anandamide is a chemical that helps us forget. In a PBS documentary based on the book The Botany of Desire by Michael Pollan, explains, and here's an excerpt. It didn't seem adaptive to me to have a drug for forgetting. Memory, we understand, has great survival utility. But why would forgetting be adaptive? I asked Mechulam this question, and he said, well, tell me, do you really want to remember all the faces you saw on the subway in the morning? Anandamide helps get rid of all the clutter, allowing you to remember only the important things. Understanding some of the essential functions of anandamide is immensely helpful to understanding the way THC affects our body and sheds some light on the role of THC in treating certain psychological disorders, such as PTSD, where patients struggle to overcome the negative memories surrounding a traumatic event. So, the short-term memory impairment of cannabis is beneficial for those with post-traumatic stress disorders because it helps you forget for a while. Not permanently, it does not damage the neurons, it just helps that center to shut up. It puts it in its place and says, you sit down and behave. It's like the teacher. Okay? The teacher in the human classroom, THC. Cute. I just came up with that. The teacher in human cannabinoid system, maybe. So there is a few key differences between THC and anandamide. Namely, THC lasts a lot longer than our natural endocannabinoids do. Anandamide actually begins to break down in a matter of minutes after binding to a cell. This means its effects are fairly short-lived, and it seems to live long enough to tag a cell and you're it, and then it quickly disappears. THC's half-life can last several days in frequent users. This is a huge difference. Now this goes into explaining THC and CBD. As previously explained, THC is the primary psychoactive, so what's with all the talk about cannabidiol, CBD? CBD is the second most discussed cannabinoid in marijuana, but unlike THC, it is non-psychoactive, and surprisingly it reduces the psychoactive effects of THC. THC engages directly with cannabinoid receptors in the body. CBD doesn't bind to the same receptors all that well. Rather, CBD works its magic by inhibiting the enzyme fatty acid amide hydroxylase FAAH, which is the enzyme that destroys anandamide in the body. This increases the amount of natural endocannabinoids present in your system. Now, the fatty acid amide hydroxylase can no longer destroy them, so your own endocannabinoids become more abundant. There are a few other ways CBD interacts with the body, but scientists are still working out the nitty-gritty on what actually happens. This is how they put it. Okay, so as cannabis continues to gain acceptance in mainstream culture, more and more studies are coming out to bring THC's medical value to light. Most remarkable are the findings on THC as a potential treatment for cancer. I told you yesterday, brain cancers, Alzheimer's, any kind of brain disease can be cured with THC and CBD. Any other cancers can be cured with Rick Simpson oil, THC-based, cannabis-based, and hemp oil. Put it all together, you're going to be feeling better. So, THC's medical value. Most remarkable of the findings on THC as a treatment for researchers at the Complutense University of Madrid found that THC actually causes tumor cells to digest themselves in animal models. Autophagy, I told you about that. And that means that THC may play a vital role in drastically reducing tumor size and prevalence. Now, THC synthetics are already on pharmacy shelves. Large-scale pharmaceutical companies have put out drugs like Marinol, prescription medication that increases appetite, reduces nausea in cannabis patients. And multiple sclerosis drug Sativex is made of THC extracted from the cannabis plants. Now, THC's ability to fight tumors in animal models is incredible. Yet the cannabinoid has another superpower. THC is a potent anti-inflammatory. 20 times as potent as aspirin for anti-inflammatory. And inflammation is the underlying factor that contributes to a host of modern diseases. Autoimmune, neurodegenerative, and depression are the three major health problems triggered by inflammation. THC's potent inflammation-fighting nature is one major reason why the herb helps with such a wide variety of conditions. Here's a brief list of conditions just helped by THC alone. For more information, you can go to read the associated articles, and they've got blue links. It takes me to each one. But ADHD, Alzheimer's, arthritis, autism, cancers including brain, breast, pediatric, skin, and more, Crohn's, IBS, IBD, chronic and neuropathic pain, fibromyalgia, glaucoma, hepatitis, insomnia, lupus, migraine, MS and other muscular disorders, stroke, Parkinson's, PTSD, sleep apnea, stroke, and Tourette's. And that's just a partial list. Additional information on how cannabis affects your health can be found here. General benefits of THC include stress relief, relaxation, improved mood, general pain relief, social bonding, laughter, and fun. So what's the frickin' problem, people? Get over the fun part. Get over the high part. Okay? There's people like me that don't even feel the buzz. Okay? Our pain levels are so freaking high that I never get to where my morphine feels like morphine. I never. And I never feel nervous about missing a dose. I go, God, I'm in so much pain. Why? I skipped a dose of morphine, and I didn't feel nervous or jerky and going, God, I gotta have my morphine. I gotta have my morphine. No, I forget about it. Okay, so don't call me a junkie. Don't call me a pothead. Okay? I smoked up a bunch before I started this video, just so I could shoot the video, because as you see me rocking, I'm hurting. Let's get back to this. Short-term effects of THC. As mentioned earlier, consuming it will make you feel a bit different from your normal self. There's a handful of side effects that might accompany THC, and it's important to note that not everyone has these side effects, and you may not experience all of them at once. Many of them listed are strain-dependent, and you can use a tool like Leafly to find strains without side effects that you want to avoid. And for many, the pleasant effects of cannabis outweigh any negatives. Okay, you may experience the following for up to 3 hours after inhaling. These do not continue once the THC is worn off. Relaxation, euphoria, sense of uplifting and energy, laughter, pain relief, hunger, a heavy-bodied sensation, drowsiness, dizziness, red dry eyes, dry mouth, increased heart rate, skewed sense of time, it seems to slow down, spatial memory problems, decreased body temperature, anxiety, paranoia, and tremors. If ingesting via an edible, it can take anywhere from 30 minutes to 2 hours to fully feel the effects, and when it kicks in, they will be much more potent than they are when consuming it in different forms. And like I've said, a little bit of hash is like a whole bowl of weed. This much is worth this much. So anyway, the immediate effects of THC will vary slightly depending on the individual strain due to factors like the total percentage of THC, percentage of other dominant cannabinoids present in the strain, your body's own chemistry, such as your ability to produce and process anandamide, will also significantly impact how you process and experience THC. Now, for some, THC will help reduce anxiety and help create a sense of inner peace. For others, THC may have an opposite effect. Scientists are still debating the long-term effects. It's been a grueling argument thus far, as very little research has reached firm, reliable conclusions, because they won't get their heads out of their asses and do the clinical trials. Big Pharma is pushing out all these poisons every year. Okay, Restasis. Have you seen the commercials for Restasis? With the pretty blonde doctor with the blue eyes? Restasis is 0.01% cyclosporine. They've been using cyclosporine in eyes, ears, nose, and throat for medical problems for decades. Restasis is just a rehash of cyclosporine in an eye drop form, which it's been in before. But they're pushing Restasis and they're charging bucks for this shit. Okay? Many insurance companies won't pay for it. They'll only pay for the generics because they're cheaper. Sometimes 10% of the price of the name brand. Like my Valium. I get my Valium. My drugs are all $10 to $20. That's it. Except for my Valium, which is $4.83 for a 3-month supply. Bitchin', huh? Everything else is 10 and 20. And in fact, all my drugs are 10, except for the Valium at $4.83, and the 60 milligram time-release morphine is $20. Everything else is $10. Seroquel, amitriptyline, and the 30 milligrams morphine. Anyway, so though it's important to mention that this list is just a simple summary of a complex topic. More long-term effects may be confirmed in the future. Further, some of those listed here may be eventually ruled out as well. So here it goes. Alterations in memory. One study has shown that heavy users have decreased verbal memory over time. Herb lovers lost an average of 1 word for every 5 years they consumed THC. That's not bad. One word. Lose the F word. Bronchitis-like symptoms. This is not from THC, but from smoking. If you smoke a lot for a long period of time, you might experience lung irritation. These will go away if you stop smoking or switch to a different consumption. Vaporizers and edibles are great options for lung health. And still, I have found that I have improved breathing smoking buds too. It's all dose dependent and person dependent. So, tolerance. When you consume a lot of THC regularly for long periods, your body develops a tolerance to the compound. This makes the herb less effective and you have to consume more and more of it to see results. When this happens, you take a tolerance break. Now, apathy. This is related to tolerance. If you use cannabis excessively over a long period of time, your body stops being completely responsive. This can cause you to feel a little blank or emotionally numb. And taking a tolerance break fixes and prevents these problems. Trouble for those with psychotic disorders. If you are predisposed to a psychotic disorder, you might want to reconsider THC. Researchers found that folks with the genetic vulnerability for schizophrenia and psychosis can develop symptom onset earlier when they regularly consume THC. Now, there's a few commonly held beliefs about cannabis that have been mitigated in recent research. And if you're concerned about any of these supposed effects, be sure to check out the associated articles. The topics listed below are highly controversial. Research has been going back and forth on these for decades. And contrary to popular belief, cannabis has not been linked to increases in lung cancer. It is not attributed to death, and it has not been shown to cause brain damage in adults. So, we've learned that THC is a primary psychocompound of cannabis, and we've learned it acts on the cannabinoid receptors to cause all kinds of effects in our bodies. So what else do we need to know about this miracle compound? One word: decarboxylation. Decarbing. This happens when you apply heat. You don't just eat cannabis and expect to have a psychoactive experience. In its raw plant form, THC doesn't actually exist in a shape that will trigger a psychoactive effect in humans. Inside marijuana resin glands called the trichomes, THC is actually found as tetrahydrocannabinolic acid, THCA. In its acid form, it's impossible for THCA to bind to cell receptors in our body because it's the wrong shape. THC has an additional carbon atom attached, and in order to fit into the proper cell receptors in our brain, you need to remove the acid group. Sounds complicated, but really all you need is a little heat. When you smoke a joint, take a lighter to a flower in a pipe, cook it, you're acting the part of a chemist, converting raw THC into the psychoactive THC. Isn't science fun? It says right there. Now, how to get rid of THC? Typical when employers or other institutions test, they rely on urine tests that look for THC metabolite, THC-COOH. How long this metabolite stays in your system depends entirely on how often you consume it and your body's individual metabolism. The more you consume, the longer it takes before it's completely eliminated. Generally, for occasional to light use consumers, the COOH will be out of your system in 3 to 14 days. Extremely heavy users, it's not uncommon to test positive from 30 to 60 days after the effect. Now, the best way to flush it from your system before a urine test is simply to drink water. It dilutes your urine, lowering the total number of nanograms per milliliter. Drinking too much water, however, may spoil the sample. Now, unfortunately, your body stores excess THC in fat cells, meaning that for regular consumers it's nearly impossible to completely eliminate all of the THC in your system in one sweep. And a piece of advice, avoid hitting the gym before taking a urine test. Now, in case all this talk about THC has given you a healthy appetite for cannabis, take a look at some of these delicious THC recipes. And it says how to make canna oil, homemade THC pills, cannabis coconut oil, and cannabis-infused honey tincture. Remember, this is herb.co. Now, when it comes to THC, the research summarized in this article is only the tip of the iceberg. Scientists like McCullum and Alan Howlett opened our eyes to a complex biochemical system that we are only just beginning to understand. And already THC has shown tremendous potential as a natural medicine, and research on THC opened the floodgates to the discovery of the endocannabinoid system, a finding with tremendous therapeutic potential. The value that THC provides to public health seems boundless, and it's time we eliminate the restrictions and give people safe access to this herb. And it says, how has it helped you share your story with us on social media? Well, so, THC. It starts out as THC acid, and it's converted, broke down into THCV, Delta 8, Delta 9, and more. They've got more that they know is in there, they just haven't found them yet. There's more and more stuff in cannabis every time they look. It's like 200 years ago, the DNA strand was foreign. Somebody would have said, DN, what? Okay. Only in the past 50 years have we improved technology to where we can look at things that are smaller and smaller and smaller. And it takes supercomputers, entire rooms filled with one big computer, just to map out one strand of human DNA. And our DNA consists of 4 things: adenine, thymine, guanine, and tyrosine. A, C, T, and G. So when you see the double helix of a DNA strand and you see this HCT, ACT, and G in different combinations, well, the combination of 4 and 4 on one DNA strand is trillions of combinations. Uncountable, maybe, combinations. Because everybody is different. Everybody has their own personal signature in your DNA. Even twins can be told apart by looking into the DNA strand and saying these guys are twins, but we can tell that they're different. This is Bob, this is Joe. Okay? And we have, and it's the same thing with the Super Collider in CERN, Switzerland. Okay? They learned how to break the atom down in the 40s, and they made the bomb. Okay, we're using Einstein and his relativity theory. They knew how to make a hydrogen bomb and a nuclear bomb from plutonium and uranium, and I don't know, where did I go? I got lost. The A, C, T, and G. Millions and millions and millions and trillions and trillions and billions of trillions of combinations of those 4 letters making up our DNA strand, which makes up the individual you and me. Okay? I found my own doppelganger. Guy looked just like me up in Casa Grande. He came into my Circle K. I was working in the day shift at Circle K, and this guy is standing and looking at me. I'm looking at him, and I'm going, "You look familiar." He goes, yeah, I think it's because we're like looking in a mirror. I had a mustache at the time, he didn't. That was the only difference. He had the same eye color, almost the same hair color. His ears were a little bit different. So I asked him if he knew my dad. My dad was an asshole that screwed around with my mom, So anyway, 34 minutes on one cannabinoid, THC. Right off of a dedicated site that knows the research and tells the truth. Okay? People gotta understand that I am telling you the truth. I am not telling you just my feelings. Now, when it comes to kratom and stuff, yeah, I make my feelings known. And my feelings for cannabis are well known. That's why I call myself an activist. Okay? The president, the Arizona governor who just denied hemp farming, stupid, stupid, stupid. Just THC alone. This is the psychoactive part. All subsequent videos following this on the other individual cannabinoids. Remember something. They don't get you high. They may attenuate the high. Okay, CBG might add to your high and make you feel this or this, uplifted or couch locked. That's what other cannabinoids do, in conjunction with THC. And THC and CBD, like I keep saying, is the power couple. And I'll be going over CBD in the next video. And then I'll go down to the CBG, CBN, CBR, CBC, and get into the V's, the Viverins, and why, all that. And why those are all different and what they do. And just what I've said so far. It's not the right thing. That's the website I was on. What was it I was going to say about it? It's the high. After THC, everything else is just... Now THC, here, the ADA, Alzheimer's, arthritis, autism, cancers, Crohn's, lupus, migraines, Tourette's, all that list. And more. There's more. Let's see what it says. It says it can be found here. So, positive effects weed on your health. Relaxation. THC and CBD help in relaxation. Creativity. Pain relief. Sleep. Bliss. Appetite. Long-term effect of nutrients. Lower average body mass index. Partially reduced risk of diabetes. Anti-aging. Increased quality of life. Relief from debilitating diseases. And a little bit of the negatives. Paranoia. Disorientation. Racing heart. The THC does not make your heart rate. Your body does. It's your answer to the high. If you can't handle the high, it makes your respiration and blood pressure and all that increase. But that's on you. Okay? Get used to the paranoia. Work with it. There's nothing to be paranoid about as long as you are legal. Like me. I've got my green card. I don't know if they're still green. The next one looks like white. But I like it to be in the green card. I mean, that's what you're buying. You're buying green. So, like it says, might increase your heart rate. A Boston study found that your risk of having a heart attack is 5 times that of a non-smoker during the first hour. And it says, but don't freak out. This number is only marginally higher than your risk of having a heart attack while having sex or going through strenuous exercise. And that risk also declines quite rapidly within the second and third hours after smoking. By comparison, your likelihood of having a heart attack while on cocaine is 25 times higher than average. Now this heart racing may be troubling to those who have pre-existing heart conditions. So bottom line, if you feel like your heart is beating a little too fast, don't risk it. Don't try not to exert yourself. Call an emergency medical professional if you're experiencing the intense pain like a heart attack. Now this heart racing occurs with high THC strands. Short-term effects. Mucus production. Some of the really potent strains makes my nose run. And when I take the hemp oil, it's so tasty, my mouth fills with saliva. I'm just sitting there holding it under my tongue, letting it get into my system faster before swallowing. Allergy. Some people may have an allergic reaction to cannabis. It's usually pollen. There's hemp and cannabis pollen allergies. Now, cannabis that is contaminated with molds can have an effect on your health. But for some, molds and mildew can trigger asthma symptoms, chest pain. So, that's why you want a legally licensed dispensary. They're making sure that you don't get moldy, pest-ridden plants. Okay? Some people may also be sensitive to the smoke from rolling papers. And when you smoke a joint, blunt, or spliff, you're also smoking the paper that your weed is wrapped in. And while it may seem obvious, it's easy to forget that any ink or bleaching on the rolling paper may cause an allergic reaction. The risk of this happening can be minimized by switching up your smoking method. I prefer bong and pipe, and glass is the best. Just like mucus and allergic reactions, how you smoke plays a major role in whether or not you develop a headache. Unless you're using raw rolling papers of any kind can have irritating chemicals, and these chemicals are free radicals that can damage your cells and cause side effects. Residual pesticides and fertilizers can also cause nasty headaches. Even medical cannabis samples taken from LA area tested positive for over 1,600 times the recommended levels of residual pesticides. What that is that's illegal growers, or unregulated growers, okay, that are just making fields of it, and they can't watch all the plants to watch for things like spider mites. Spider mites are a very common bug that bothers cannabis. Easily gotten rid of without dangerous pesticides. Let's see, if you're growing yourself. So if you're growing yourself, consult a local testing lab on how to properly flush your plants before harvest. Now, there can be a tar buildup in the lung. Less REM sleep. Potential high risks for adolescents. I don't believe in that because I was an adolescent stoner. I started at the age of 8. And my IQ has done nothing but increase. My memory, both eidetic and photographic, have done nothing but increase. Okay? I see people in commercials, and I can tell you what other commercials they were in, and almost tell you exactly what they were saying in the other commercial. And what about psychosis? This is a hot topic. On one hand, some studies show that psychotic symptoms increase in people more prone to psychotic behavior, but other studies show that marijuana may help ease psychotic episodes in schizophrenics. Some have also suggested that instances of marijuana use is so high among those prone to schizophrenia because they are self-medicating. Thus far, though, there is no conclusive evidence that cannabis causes psychosis. However, those with a predisposition to psychotic disorders may be more likely to develop early onset symptoms with cannabis, especially if they began consuming at an early age. And I say go to hemp oil. Try hemp oil. Get away from cannabis, use hemp oil for a while, go back to the cannabis later. Pick safer smoking tools. Avoid pipes without screens. Bubblers, bongs, water-based dab rigs are the best, and are okay, and the best choice is convection vaporizers. You want to balance your strains. That's why I'm using CBD strains too. I'm using sativas and indicas because I don't want to overdo the pain-killing THC. I want to get off and smoke a CBD strain for a while, and that helps keep me balanced, where it still works well with my morphine and to help pain relief and everything. So, finding ratios that have a well-balanced ratio between the two cannabinoids, THC and CBD, can be tricky, but fortunately cannabis consumers have a lot more options. Like I've been posting on Leafly, those strains of the day that I've been given. Okay, all that information has been gathered through people who grew the seeds originally, named them because of their colors or their smell or their effects. Like Tangelope. It's a cross of Tangy and Chocolope. And I got one here, it's Grape Ape. Oh my god. I posted some pictures of that. And I tagged the picture. I put the name of the bud under each picture. Look at the picture of purple, or Grape Ape. The purples are awesome, great pain relieving strains. Okay, so I'm getting ready to go on an hour here, and we're going to start this upload. Get it on YouTube and have it shared early as I can, as early as I can. I gotta proof watch the whole thing too, which means I need my earphones. These new earphones that came with the Galaxy S8s, they're black cord, and it's a lot better wire covering, and it won't wear out as fast. So I'm going to listen to my little video here after I take a half a Seroquel of Valium and a 30 milligram morphine. Why so much? Because I've been up 3 hours already and I'm in intense pain. Almost 9-10 pain right here in my neck. The rest of my look back with its double curve has got about 6-7 pain. My hips are about an 8. My rotator cuffs here and feel like a 7 or a 6. I've just got different pain numbers all over my head, all over my body, and my brain has got a migraine that's up in the 4 or 5 range. It's mildly distressing. So, take tolerance breaks. Practice deep breathing. Keep a healthy attitude. And take tolerance breaks. And balance your strains. Those are the very important things to do. Mix and match. Try your sativas. You never know when something is going to have a higher level of CBG in it. FBI serves warrant at Southside Chiropractic Office. I get the local news updates. An investigation underway into chiropractic business on the south side of Tucson. Early this morning, Rio Rico Health and Wellness, multiple witnesses called now to say agents are going in and out of the office building. The FBI is leading the investigation. I wonder what this chiropractor was doing. No doubt, probably insurance fraud. So, anyway, get out of the news. I don't need that news. I'm done there. I'm done on the phone. Close everything. Open up my Sims game. I'm going to play Sims. I like the Sims 4 free play, but it pisses me off. There's all these quests and stuff that I can open, but the only way to get the lifestyle and experience type points is to pay cash. So there's like half of the game I can't do because I'm not going to pay for a free game. I don't want to pay for all that shit. So, anyway, we're going to close this off so I can proof watch it, upload it to YouTube, and I'm going to smoke up and get myself relaxed. I need the relaxation. Just gotta do something real quick here. There, that's enough. So, THC. I don't know if Debbie's going to work tomorrow, but if she does, I'll do a CBD. But if not, Monday. Monday will be CBD. We've gone THC today. I will go in depth into cannabidiol, CBD. And I'll be talking about both the hemp side and the cannabis side. Because hempsaveme.com, Tracy Morgan Gibson, CBD Hemp Saved Me group on Facebook. Her products work. This is a free, unpaid testimonial, and I give her free reign of advertising on all my pages and groups, including my home wall. And in fact, I have her text saved on my clipboard so that I can post her words on my group or on any of my pages and do the advertising for her in her own words. So, try CBD Hemp Save Me, hempsavedme.com. I've got my mom trying the cherry oil. She's taking it to her doctor's before she takes it. He's a homeopathic medicine person though. So when he sees it, CBD hemp oil, my mom tells him it was through the mail for, without legalities. I'm sure he'll let her take it. Because my mom's had a whole lot of things. Diverticulitis, she had the ascending abdominal aortic aneurysm, where she had a big blowout balloon on her big artery that goes down the lower body. Runs in the family. My emphysema lower CT showed that mine is fine. So anyway, close out THC for today. Tetrahydrocannabinol. Starts out as an acid, THCA. Goes into your body and turns into THCV, Delta 8, and Delta 9. And it makes you feel good. Happy, uplifted, hungry. What's wrong with that? Then THC also binds to our immune receptors. The CB2 receptors and CB1 receptors are also activated by THC. It's not all about the high. I told you all those diseases. ADHD, autism, to Tourette's, and cancer. What a wide world of syndromes, diseases, pain, anxiety, depression, seizure issues, everything. Everything, people, can be fixed with cannabis. And as I say, I'll talk about kratom and say, kratom is an opiate. It either acts like cocaine or it acts like heroin. Not safe if you're on opiates. The alkaloid profile is crap. It's very scary looking if you know organic chemistry like I do. And it is. It's a very scary thing. Cannabis, simple hydrocarbons, fit our bodies like a lock and key. Okay? As kratom only affects the opiate receptor in your body. Cannabis attaches to your immune system. And your receptors in the CB1 and CB2 and THC receptors are innumerable, uncountable. It's 10 to the 200th power, 10 times, 10, 20 times. And you know that just incrementally builds to billions and trillions of combinations. Our bodies are made for cannabis. We've evolved after this plant. The plant was here before humans. Why are we designed to use cannabinoids? And why are we denied? Why are we prohibited from using these cannabinoids? I'll tell you, Big Pharma. Now the cotton industry and the oil corporation industry is advertising like a son of a bitch because I think they're afraid of industrial hemp. And if I'm making people nervous, that's great. Okay? I'll tag the president when I put this on Patriot Up. That's the only place I'll tag the president today. But the president needs to listen. Hemp is a multi-trillion-dollar crop. It'll fund the wall. It will make the wall with hempcrete. Not only the concrete, but the stuff you put in between your bricks. Okay? The mud you put in your bricks to hold them all together. That can be made from hemp too. Even the sheathing on the wiring in your house. So the only thing in your house would be metal, wires, nails. Everything else can be made from hemp, including your windows. Why can't we do this? That makes a carbon negative home. Hemp is carbon negative on the atmosphere, and cannabis. They clean the air. There's fields down here to the east of me. Many cotton fields. And all the way up 60 miles to Casa Grande, you're passing cotton fields. These things are using twice the water the same size acre of hemp would use. And hemp is 8 times stronger. And it doesn't need anything except nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus, dirt, sun, and water. And only half the water of what cotton takes. No pesticides, no herbicides, no defoliants, no hazardous fertilizers. Hemp and cannabis are the future. Prohibition needs to end. President Trump and Arizona Governor Doug Ducey, you screwed the pooch by saying we can't do hemp in Arizona. We need to grow hemp. We have farmers that are not making any money because they're not allowed to grow too much. Okay? Because we have a glut of cotton. I've seen the bales in these modules of cotton that are like 40 feet long, 10 feet high, 12 feet wide. It's a big bale of cotton that this thing packs, and they drop it off, and this truck comes and sucks it up. Well, they sit there on the edge of the fields for sometimes as much as a month before the cotton is picked up. Why? Because there's too much on the market. Read the Wall Street Journal, or just go to Wall Street and look up the cotton industry, okay? And you'll see the price of cotton dropping because we have too much. Okay? Well, we need to start utilizing hemp. And we need to put hemp and cannabis on the stock market. We need to make it a federal revenue as well as state revenue. And we just get over the thing about people getting high. And think about the fact that THC does all these good things besides getting you high. And it interacts with the other cannabinoids in your human endocannabinoid system, and you heal. You live a quality of life. You don't know it until it's happened to you. Okay? I'm not trying to push drugs here. I'm trying to push a plant that is a medicine, and it is made for our bodies, or we have been made or evolved to utilize this plant. Why else do we have an endocannabinoid system if we're not meant to ingest cannabinoids? I'll leave you all to that question. Peace out. Free hemp and marijuana from the prison of ignorance. Thank you.